Hi students, let's check on this question from 2021 May-June, paper 2-3, question number 6. Well, this question will test you on your understanding in factors and polynomials. Now let's read out this question. The polynomial p is given by px equals to 36x cubed minus 15x squared minus 2x plus 1. A. Show that x equals to negative 0.25 is a root of the equation px equals to 0. So for this question, what we'll have to do is that we can apply what you have learned in the factor theorem to solve for this. Because according to factor theorem, we know that if this is a root, then when I sub this value into my polynomials, it should gives us the answer of 0. So let's prove it, because this question asks us to show it. Right, so let's start. So I have p bracket negative 0.25 equals to, sub this value into all the x that you see here. Okay, that would be 36 times negative 0.25 cubed minus 15 times negative 0.25 square minus 2 times negative 0.25 plus 1. So now let's use our calculator to help us on this question. Okay, for this question, I would prefer to store my x value as x equals to negative 0.25 into my calculator. So how do you do that? Just key in 0.25 and then press the STO button above the number 7 on your calculator and press the X button, which is right below your on button. Then you should be seeing negative 0.25 with an arrow pointing to x. So you will have negative 1/4. So now let's type in this algebraic expression. 36x cubed minus 15x squared minus 2x plus 1. Well, here we go. We get to see that this will give us a result of 0. So since this question asks us to show, then we can put a shown here. Oops. Shown. Right? Okay, now let's proceed to the next part of this question B. Show that the equation px has only a repeated root. Now this. So how do I show this? Before I proceed to show this equation has a repeated root, I will have to factorize my cubic equation. So let's factorize this using the information that we have from A. Yeah, since here from A we know that P, when we substitute x equals to negative 0.25 into it, we get a 0. Then from the previous question, we can deduce that. Yeah, we can deduce that here. Okay, let's work on this. X equals to negative 0.25, which is equals to negative 1/4, which also means that if you were to rearrange this and let the right hand side equals to 0, you'll be seeing 4x equals to negative 1, where 4x plus 1 equals to 0. So from here, from the previous question, we can say that 4x plus 1 is a factor of px. Now we can use these important things that we have deduced here to continue on the next part of this question, which is in our B. So here, since we know that this is one of the factor, so when I use this polynomial to, if I were to factorize, yeah, then this will be one of the divisor. So here, let's write this down. Okay, P. Okay, what is our Px would be 36. So let's write down 36 x cubed minus 15x squared minus 2x plus 1. So for this, we can express it into 4x plus 1. Okay, 4x plus 1, and then here we have, using 36x squared divided by 4x, we get 9x squared plus bx, and the last part we have 1 here, 1 divided by 1, which is just 1, plus 1. So now let's work out for the coefficient of let's say a, right? Okay, so here, compare coefficient of x on both sides. Okay, on the left hand side, the coefficient of x would be -2, and on the right hand side, we have to see which number, the product of which two terms will give us a x term. So first we have 4x times 1, and the other one we have 1 times b. So just write down on the coefficient, just the number, the coefficient part of your x. So here I have 4 times 1 plus 1 times b. Right, so here I have 4 plus b equals to -2, which means that my b is equals to -6. Okay, now I found my value for b. Let's sub this value back into my expression here. So let's continue from there. 4x plus 1, I have 9x squared minus 6x plus 1. Okay, so back to this question. The question asks us to show that the equation px equals to 0 has a repeated root, isn't it? Okay, so let's see whether I can factorize this part. Okay, again, we can use our calculator to help us on this. Okay, put in the coefficient. Alright, as you can see here in your calculator, usually if this quadratic part here can be factorized into two brackets, you will usually see x1 and x2. So here, if you check on your calculator, it shows that you have x equals to 103. That means you will have a repeated root here. So here I have 4x plus 1. Next, I'll have 3x minus 1, followed by 3x minus 1. Now, if you would like to confirm whether this answer is correct, you can also use your calculator to help you to check on this. Okay, so go and press the first press the equation of function button. Go into polynomial degree. Let's choose 3, select 3, and key in the original question here. I have 36, and then the next coefficient will be -15, followed by -2 and plus 1. Okay, so my x1, my first root will be x equals to -1/2, which we have shown in our 6a here. It can be written as 4x plus 1. Yeah, if you have to express this as a divisor. Now next, you can see here x2. The other bracket will be 1/3. So when we rewrite this thing, we get 3x minus 1. Okay, and also we know that this 3x minus 1 is a repeated 1. If you were to expand 3x minus 1 square, you'll be getting 9x squared minus 6x plus 1. Alright, so done. So now let's continue on this part. Px equals to 0. So what is my px? My px is 4x plus 1. Now I have 3x minus 1 square equals to 0. So from here, I'll get 4x plus 1 equals to 0, where my x equals to negative 1 over 4, or 3x minus 1 equals to 0, where x equals to 1 over 3. So this square here suggests that here for this equation, we have a repeated root. So here, we can actually point here and write down this is the repeated root of px. Alright, so we're done for this question. So now let's check with our marking scheme and see how many marks we will get for this question by giving this working that I've shown here. Alright, so here, let's check on question number 6. Okay, 6a. 6a is a 1 marks question, as you can see on your marking scheme. Right? From marking scheme, for you to get a 1 mark, it will be the same as what I've shown here, which is substitute your negative 0.05 into the polynomial. So yep, here I've scored my 1 mark. Okay, 1 mark. Okay, now let's move on to B. Okay, B, the first part, let's say, for this part, being able to factorize, to factorize your px in the form of 4x squared plus 9x squared minus 6x plus 1 or equivalent will entitle you for 2 marks. So all the steps that I've shown up to this slide here, together with all the working, compare the coefficient, looking for my b, which is negative 6 up to here, I get 2 marks. Then next, watch out for this, because the following mark depends on the previous 2 marks. So if you do not get marks from the previous part, then you will lose marks from here as well. So because here they put out NFWW, not from wrong working. Alright, so I score my next mark, the 3rd marks for this question. And last, let's say state repeated root. So repeated root, of finding the remaining roots as x equals to 1/3, or find x equals to 1 over 3 and indicate example twice. So here, if you check on my working here, I put a square here, which I have proceed to solve this equation, and also giving the description here. This is the repeated root of px, showing that the x equals to 1 over 3 would be my repeated root. So I score my 4th mark, the last mark for these questions. So that's how you score the 5 marks for this question. And I hope that this video will help you